broadcaster in Los Angeles. This is KCAL9 News at 8.
Well, now 8 o'clock, it shows support for a local street vendor who was attacked. We're live at the Candlelight Vigil.
And disturbing details of a suspected child predator's MO. He's been arrested, accused of offering hundreds to have sex with a 4-year-old.
A smelly spill at Dodger Stadium. See how crews are trying to get a handle on that before tomorrow's season opener. And thank you so much for joining us on this Wednesday night. I'm Jeff Vaughn.
And I'm Elsa Ramon. Tonight, as a South LA street vendor recovers from a brutal attack this past weekend, a community is coming together to show its support. Pedro Reyes was attacked and robbed last Sunday by several men and a woman and is still in critical condition. KCAL9's Andrea Fujii is live in South LA right now, where a candlelight vigil for Reyes just wrapped up. Andrea?
Jeff and Elsa, the attack happened in the corner right behind me, and that's where people gathered tonight. Some are still here. They were rallying for justice, but also hoping that street vending becomes legal. Let's take a look at video of that rally. People within the vending community came together, hoping the suspects who brutally attacked 54-year-old Pedro Reyes are caught. He was beaten and robbed at 5 a.m. March 18th as he was setting up his vending cart. Several other vendors were robbed as well, and the suspects were caught on video attacking Reyes and then rifling through his pockets. According to his GoFundMe page, Reyes was just released from the hospital and is recovering at home. The city has decriminalized street vending, but it is still not legal and there's no regulation. So organizers here say that's why vendors like Reyes must set up their carts early in the morning to secure a good location, but putting themselves in danger.
I think it would have a different outcome. For example, Pedro Reyes was setting up at 4 a.m. in the morning. If you talk to any vendor, one of the biggest issues with vendors of them trying to actually make a living is having a space.
Now, the suspects are still on the loose tonight, and a lieutenant who's on the case was also here tonight attending the vigil. He says he believes other people were involved in the attack other than the ones caught on video. There is a $25,000 reward for information leading to their arrests. Jeff and Elsa, back to you.
All right, Andrea, thank you for the update. A suspected child predator was arrested in Irvine today after a month-long undercover investigation.
Officials tell us the man asked someone to find him a 4-year-old to have sex with. KCAL9's Lisa Siegel breaks down those disturbing details.
Police say this is such a disturbing case. All afternoon, the suspect has been inside the police department being interviewed. They go through evidence and then interview him once again. Early this morning, Santa Ana police and the FBI pulled over a car. Inside, a suspected child predator.
He was looking specifically for a 4-year-old to have a sexual encounter with.
The suspect, 29-year-old Nicholas Ryan Castillo, was arrested after a month-long undercover investigation. Police say it started after a tip from someone in the community who said Castillo asked him to find a 4-year-old to have sex with. A detective began posing as a mom and talking to the suspect.
He was very specific on what he was looking for. He was willing to pay $700 for 2 sessions with the child, or if the mother was willing to let the child spend the night with him, he was willing to pay $500. He claimed he had done this several times in the past.
Castillo was taken into custody in Anaheim, not far from his fiance's family home. 2 kids also live there. His fiance's mom gave us these pictures, still in shock after the house was searched this morning.
Very surprised, surprise for me, because he stayed here for like 3 weeks.
Next to the home, a daycare center. The operations manager says she's never even seen Castillo around.
I don't think anybody can actually predict something like this would happen, but thankfully, nothing happened here.
And also searched his parents' home in Yorba Linda, next to a school as well. Evidence confiscated: computers, hard drives, and phones. Police looking for evidence, more victims, or any child pornography.
Individual destroy children if they get their hands on it. Our goal is always never to let that happen.
While this undercover operation worked this time, police do believe there may be other possible victims. If you have any information on this case or the suspect, contact the Santa Ana Police Department. Back to you.
Now to a developing story in Palmdale. Check out this dramatic crash involving a deputy. You can see his car flipped onto the side of the road at 18th Street and Avenue Q. A deputy was responding to a rescue call when he was involved in that crash with another car. A deputy was taken to a local hospital with moderate injuries, we're told. 2 other people had minor injuries.
And developing news on a Long Beach family's desperate search for their dogs after they were taken from their home during a burglary tonight. One of the stolen Shih Tzus has been found and returned safe. Sadly, the other dog is still missing tonight. The gray and white Shih Tzu was found by a Good Samaritan in South LA and posted on social media. Someone who knows the family saw it and alerted them. The family was able to pick up their dog and bring him home safely. They are still holding out hope they'll be able to find their other dog as well. We hope so, too.
Now to another shakeup in the White House. Veteran Affairs Secretary David Shulkin has been fired, and he already has a replacement.
KCAL9's Angelica Alvarez has the latest from the White House tonight.
Elsa, Jeff, the news sending shockwaves throughout Washington as the administration is facing yet another transition. President Trump fired yet another member of his administration via Twitter Wednesday, Veterans Affairs Secretary David Shulkin. The president wrote, in part, "I am thankful for Dr. David Shulkin's service to our country and to our great veterans."
Mr. President, thank you so much.
The decision ended weeks of speculation that Shulkin, an Obama-era holdover, was on his way out. Earlier this year, an inspector general determined that Shulkin used taxpayer dollars on a lavish trip to Europe for his wife. He paid the money back after it became public.
I've made the decision to reimburse the Treasury, to follow the IG recommendations, and I'm committed to doing what we have to do to focus on veterans and make this better.
The president intends to nominate his personal physician, Dr. Ronnie Jackson, to replace Shulkin as head of the VA.
The president's overall health is excellent.
Back in January, Dr. Jackson gave President Trump a clean bill of health after performing the first medical exam of his presidency. He's likely to face some challenges in getting confirmation.
He's going to come under a lot of heat as to how Dr. Jackson wants to pursue health care for veterans.
House Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi has already expressed concern about the way President Trump let Secretary Shulkin go. In a statement, Pelosi called the move a, quote, troubling step in the Trump administration's ultimate goal of VA privatization. Also reacting to this news, the American Legion. They said in a statement earlier they wish Shulkin well, and they look forward to working with the president during this transition. From the White House, Angelica Alvarez, back to you in LA.
The storm over the president and a porn star is making waves in federal court. Stormy Daniels' attorney now wants permission to chat with the president one-on-one about so-called hush money paid to keep his client quiet. Michael Avenatti told CBS this morning that he wants to depose the commander-in-chief and his personal attorney, Michael Cohen, for no greater than 2 hours. He wants to determine if Mr. Trump had a role in the $130,000 payment Cohen made to Daniels 11 days before the presidential election.
When we get to the bottom of this, we're going to prove to the American people that they have been told a bucket of lies.
It's a reckless use of the legal system. That's what it is.
The president has repeatedly denied Daniels' claims.
Actor Corey Feldman is posting pictures of himself recovering in the hospital after he says someone tried to kill him. KCAL9's Amy Johnson has details from Tarzana, where the actor says he was attacked in his car.
There are still a lot of questions about what did or didn't happen at this intersection last night. Now, the actor says that he was stabbed in a knife attack, but investigators say there were no cuts. They say instead this was most likely a case of road rage. Actor Corey Feldman took to Twitter last night, posting these pictures, and tweeted he'd been attacked at the intersection of Reseda and Ventura Boulevards Tuesday night by someone who was trying to kill him. The 46-year-old tweeted, "I'm in the hospital. I was attacked tonight. A man opened my car door and stabbed me with something. Please say prayers for us." Thank God it was only myself and my security in the car when 3 men approached. While security was distracted with the guy, a car pulled up and attacked. I'm okay.
I think that's crazy. I never thought anything would happen like that.
We visited area businesses and couldn't find anyone who heard or saw any commotion. People at one business looked through security camera video but couldn't find the right time of the alleged attack.
I'm not that surprised that weird stuff like that has happened around here because it's pretty common. We have a lot of theft and robberies in Tarzana.
Sonia Hugh lives just around the corner from the intersection.
It happened at night, so a lot of the theft and robberies do happen around here at night. And so could possibly be true.
Feldman later tweeted, LAPD are currently investigating the case as an attempted homicide. I have had mounting threats on all social media platforms by this vile wolf pack, and this, I'm sure, is a result of those negative actions. I have reason to believe it's all connected. Enough is enough. How sick are these people? Feldman has made allegations that he was sexually molested as a child actor and says he's been threatened because of it. Late last year, he started a GoFundMe page to raise money to increase his security. That page resurfaced again today.
I just hope he's okay.
Feldman did tell investigators that they thought they were being followed last night, so a security guard shined a flashlight at that car, and that may have actually prompted the encounter. So for now, investigators are looking at this as a case of possible road rage. In Tarzana, Amy Johnson, KCAL9 News.
Police have confirmed that a body found in Northern California is that of a missing model and actress from Hollywood. Adea Shabani vanished last month. Her boyfriend, Christopher Spots, is suspected of killing her. He killed himself, we're told, at the end of a police chase in Riverside County last week. Detectives believe that Spots killed Shabani the day that she disappeared, then buried her body in a shallow grave in Nevada County. Today, a coroner said Shabani died of blunt force trauma to her head.
How young she was. She came to LA to pursue her dreams. It's such a sad story to end up like this.
A memorial you see there set up by family, friends, and neighbors now sits outside of Shabani's Hollywood apartment building.
A police officer shot and wounded a man at the end of a pursuit in Irvine. That man was unarmed. 24-year-old Kenneth Yamashita Magaro is in critical condition. An Anaheim officer shot him last night after he led them on a high-speed chase. Yamashita Magaro crashed his black Altima on the 405 freeway near Jamboree. He took off running. The officer shot him near Von Carmen and Quartz. It's not clear why the officer opened fire.
Any investigation that's taking place by the district attorney or by the Irvine PD, there's a lot more work to be done. There are interviews still to be conducted, so that's where we're at right now.
The Orange County DA is also looking into the shooting. Yamashita Magaro is on probation and was wanted on drug-related crimes.
Metro's Green Line stations are opening back up a week early. 5 stations were shut down in January for construction. They were temporarily closed to connect that line with the future Crenshaw LAX line. Stations reopening are Aviation LAX, Mariposa, El Segundo, Douglas, and Redondo Beach. The trains will resume regular service Sunday. Monday, we're told. During the rush hours, Metro plans to welcome back riders with some small token of appreciation at 5 stations. We don't know what they are yet, but guess it's going to be a surprise.
Well, here's another surprise. Dunkin' Donuts is serving up something new.
But it's not edible. We'll tell you about it next. But first, here's Evelyn.
Wait, okay, now you piqued my interest. All right, we're getting a look outside at the Santa Monica Pier. A lot of people enjoying this summer-like day and evening, feeling very spring-like, at least. We're going to have your forecast for the rest of the week. We'll let you know if this warm weather will stick around.
This NASA spacecraft is expected to get closer to the sun than any other in history. I'm Reja Jang in Greenbelt, Maryland, with what burning questions scientists hope to answer.
Then the Orange County Sanctuary Showdown tonight. More fallout as the president picks sides.
And let's take a look at the best of LA and Orange County tonight at KCAL9.com, where we're always on. KCAL9 News at 8. We'll be right back.